Hi guys!
Hi guys!
Hi guys!
We are from Group
We'll
6.
explain
We will explain about aviation industry. Enjoy the presentation.
What do you know about the aviation industry? Yeah, aviation support industry by building aircraft and manufacturing aircraft. As you know, that air transportation is an essential ingredient of tourism development, especially at an international scale where destination choice may be more constrained by time, cost, and accessibility factor. Before we learn about the role of aviation industry in tourism, let's start with the term of aviation, airline, and airport. You may know that aviation has a correlation with the bird. Is that true? Yes, aviation comes from avis, from Latin word for bird. And Undang-Undang or Law Number 1 of 2009 state that aviation is the unified system consisting of the use of airspace, aircraft, airport, air transportation, flight navigation, security and safety, the environment, as well as the sporting facilities and other public facilities. Air transportation services involve several elements. There are mode of transportation, air traffic, terminal, and air cargo. Civil aviation includes all non-military flying, both general aviation or scheduled air transport. Military aviation is the use of aircraft and other flying machines for the purpose of conducting or enabling warfare. And the second is airline. Airline is a company who provide air transport for passengers. Generally, airline companies are recognized with an air operating certificate or license issued by a governmental aviation body. Airline services can be categorized as being intercontinental, intracontinental, domestic, regional, and international. Several airlines in Indonesia, including Wings Air, Lion Air, Sriwijaya Air, Garuda Indonesia, Nam Air, and Citylink. From travel magazine called Travel and Leisure, there are 5 best airlines in the world, including Singapore Airlines, Qatar Airways, Emirates, Eva Air, and All Nippon Airways. I think you may know what is airport about because every country has an airport, right? So what is a terminology for airport? Airport is a location where aircraft such as fixed-wing aircraft, helicopters, and blimps take off and land. An airport consists at least one surface such as a runway for a plane to take off and landings, a helipad, or a water for takeoff and landings, and often includes a building such as control towers, hangars, terminal buildings, air traffic controls, passenger facilities, and operator services. A military airport is known as an airbase or air station. A water airport is a water aerodrome, usually with passenger facilities on adjacent land, which act as an airport. Indonesia has 30 international airports. For example, Soekarno-Hatta International Airport, Juanda International Airport, and Sultan Hasanuddin International Airport. And that's all for the term of aviation, airlines, and airport.
Airports are more than just transport terminals where tourists transfer from ground-based form of transport to air-based form of transport. In larger capital cities, airports are major integrated transport hubs with a wide range of feeder routes by public transport and road, including other air travelers in transit who are sorted, sifted, channeled, and directed toward departing flight as part of the 86 tourism experience. Airports have changed out of all recognition from their early 1930s origins, where there were simple buildings that provided waiting area for flights. Today, they are multi-million-pound businesses with vast capital investment in transport infrastructure to facilitate the air travel function, as well as a large number of other functions such as retailing, support services, car hire, onward travel by other modes of transport, and large parking facilities as well as a cargo function. The roles of the airports nowadays have been cited by some scholars. Some focus on the image of the passenger, some focus on services and activities, and some others focus on board activities. The table describes the roles of the airport. Berlin 1995, page 2005, focus on the image of passenger, such as speed of check-in, efficiency, passport control and custom clearance, luggage retrieval, availability of shops, duty-free, and associated services, and the last is a spacious and relaxed environment to wait prior to boarding the aircraft. Doganis 1992 focused on services and activities such as essential operational facilities and services, traffic handling services, and commercial services. Page 2007 focus on board activities such as ground and baggage handling, passenger terminal operation, airport security, cargo operation, airport technical services, air traffic control, aircraft scheduling, airport and aircraft emergency services, and airport access. The future roles of the airport will be harder and more complicated. Apart from the roles that have been mentioned before, new roles like safety, security, and environmental concern have been added on page 2007. Now the number of agencies within and outside the airports are responsible for passenger safety on the ground and in the air.
Now I will talk about regulating air transportation. DBH has reported that in the past few decades, the contemporary air transportation industry has experienced the radical shift that set airfares and authorized air routes, and these changes have implicitly shaped the flow of tourists from the origin to destination. In the case of air travel, regulation is needed for several reasons. Appropriate international regulation and supervision of the industry ensures airlines do not operate in unsafe manner. Regulations set minimum standards for operating the aircraft, and non-economic regulations are designed to cover the safety and the operational guidelines for airline services. There are regulations concerning, for example, one is the airworthiness of the aircraft, such as their maintenance and overhaul, and the training of the engineer who undertake this work. Two is the number and types of flight crew and cabin crew required on specific types of flight, together with their qualification and their training. And the last three is the aviation infrastructure, such as airports. According to the page, as a result of deregulated airline market and the boom economy of the early to the mid-1918, the major incumbent carriers began to react more aggressively to competition by utilizing competitive strategy involving the following. One is more sophisticated pricing policies. The ability to manage effectively the pricing mix of a large number of airline seats or hundreds of different routes allow the incumbent carrier to initiate and respond more effectively to price and entry competition from the new entrants. And next, there is the development of hub and spoke system. Hub and spoke system is a system of air transportation, in which local airports offer air transportation to a central airport, where long-distance flights are available. The hubbing airlines tends to have access to a large number of gates and landing slots, this making it difficult for any other carrier to challenge it competitively. And 3. The next is the development of a more assertive merger and acquisition policy. Intermodal carriers was a policy of industrial consolidation, exemplified by the frenzy of merger and acquisition that occurred during the mid of 1980s. Many of the major carriers eliminated competition by simply buying out some of the more competitive new entrant airlines. And that's all from me. Let's move on to the next topic.
Airline marketing and developing client relationship, frequent flyer, programs, and alliances to continually build and develop the market for air travel. Whilst competing with low-cost carriers, full-cost airlines have begun to recognize the benefit of collaboration and joint working in terms of alliances address the competition. The concept of frequent flyer programs is one example of building good client relationship to encourage customer loyalty as part of customer relationship management. These programs were originally developed in the USA in May by American Airlines, were developed to attract business following the regulation. American Airlines used its database of passengers to identify frequent flyers who were enrolled into a very important travelers club. The rewards for loyalty was free air travel on a route that consistently had a high ratio of unsold seats, Hawaii. Advantage aimed to maximize revenue yield. This is reflected in the 3 stages to alliance development. The first phase is revenue generation, where partners can enter and exit easily, and involves a series of code shares, joint networking coordination, joint sales, share business launch, and alliance logo. In the second phase, the alliance is embedded together in order to make cost saving for each member from common ground handling, joint maintenance, sales and call center, purchasing and fleet harmonization. Exit is difficult at this stage. In the last phase, a joint venture situation, exit is almost impossible as it involves franchising, joint product development, sharing aircraft and crews and single alliance brand. The emergence of alliance reflects a more sophisticated business approach to airline development. Although some airlines still seek to differentiate themselves on the basis of unique selling features or proposition, especially in the luxury market. Through in flight food proposition.
Well, I'm going to talk about the importance of the low-cost airlines as a new business sector in Europe. But before that, I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you know what is low-cost carrier in airlines? Low-cost airlines is an airline that offers transportation service at lower price in exchange for the elimination of many services provided by traditional airlines. The concept was created in the US of States of America and was then, at the beginning of the 90s, implemented in Europe and the rest of the world. This traditional strategy has been significantly challenged in many markets which allowed liberalization of service. In Europe, in the 1990s, allowing new entrants to compete for business, especially low-cost carriers, as more travelers now seek lower fares. There are some characteristics of the concept of low-cost airlines, which are focused on the minimal cost and maximal efficiency, using secondary and regional airports, short-haul flight, no service on board aircraft, and the last one type of aircraft in the fleet. Europe has a number of low-cost airlines, some of the largest and most established being EasyJet, Ryanair, Norwegian, and Wizz Air. These airlines have steered up travel within Europe by dramatically cutting fares. The low-cost model in Europe brought many benefits for the passenger regarding lower price and freer choice. The low-cost airlines reduce the negative impact of air traffic on the environment by using modern aircraft, and they consume much less fuel and have significantly lower emission of harmful substances into the environment. The low-cost airlines market by purpose of travel is dominated by the leisure travelers, followed by visiting friends and relatives or VFR. Over time, the market is significantly expanding over the business travel market. The companies are notably accepting LCC as business travel is a hub cost centers. The following are the impact of low-cost airlines on the European air transportation market, which are flexibility in personnel planning, lower cost of maintenance, spare parts, and personnel training, minimal space at airport, internet and telephone booking, and the last one, lower distribution cost.
Pesawat Indonesia Lion Air jatuh di Laut Jawa tidak lama setelah
terkait dengan pesawat Sriwijaya Air SJ.
TNI Angkatan Laut kembali menemukan properti penumpang Sriwijaya Air 18.
On January 9, 2021, the Boeing 737-500 departed from Soekarno-Hatta Airport with the destination of Supadio Airport in Pontianak. The plane carried 62 people, consisting of 2 pilots and 4 cabin crew, along with 56 passengers. The Sriwijaya Air plane took off from Soekarno-Hatta Airport, Tangerang, Banten, at 2:36 p.m. At 2:38 p.m., due to the weather, the pilot asked the air traffic controller to turn to 75 degrees and was allowed. The ATC estimate that the change in direction would make SJ-182 run into another aircraft departing from runway 25 with the same direction. The ATC therefore asked the pilot to stop ascending at 11,000 feet. After that, the ATC gave instruction to climb to a height of 13,000 feet, and the pilot answered at 2:39 p.m. This is the SJ-182 last communication. FDR recorded the aircraft last activity at 2 p.m. At that time, the auto throttle began to deactive and the plane was in a down position.
Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy Sandiaga Uno did not deny that the Sriwijaya Air SJ-182 accident incident would have an impact on tourist confidence and tourism performance. Sandiaga also plans to revise the achievement target for the first 3 months of 2021. Sandiaga also plans to meet with the Association of Indonesian National Aviation Companies or INNACA to reduce the impact of the incident.
The ministry would establish closer cooperation with Aviation Association. The ministry and INACA will formulate cooperation to improve tourism performance from the transportation sector. Without elaborating on the points of cooperation, he admitted that the agreement between the two parties prioritized restoring tourist confidence after the Sriwijaya Air accident and the COVID-19 pandemic occurred.
The tragedy Sriwijaya Air Flight 182 has naturally raised questions about Indonesia air safety standards. Over the past decade, the nation has done much to improve them, but more still remains to be done. As commercial aviation recovers from its COVID stall, regulators will need to focus on aviation safety to ensure the progress is not reversed. To avoid another accident, on 28 January 2021, The Standards Quality and Training Division of Sriwijaya Air included the recovery training as part of the training syllabus in the next line-oriented flight training. On 2 February 2021, the Quality and Safety Division of Sriwijaya Air issued safety recommendation to its Operation Directorate and Technical Directorate. Improvement in Indonesia aviation safety record can be seen in the data provided by the Aviation Safety Network. From 2000 to 2009, there were 27 fatal aviation incidents in Indonesia. From 2010 to 2019, there were 18. The country has made significant gains in implementing International Civil Aviation Organization or ICAO standards.